Hello and welcome to our astrological vibrations for Wednesday, March 19th, 2025 by Gaia Blooming. I'm Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I take my time to play in the divine cosmic flow unfolding. Here we are, last day of Pisces. I'm always a little sad to see Pisces go, but here we are. We're also finishing up our astrological New Year. We are in astrological New Year's Eve today, and it is magical. This is a magical last day of Pisces because this is our last time that the Sun and Neptune are meeting up in the sign of Pisces. So the Sun and Neptune with this one will have met up 13 times, 13 cycles of this magic, of this make-a-wish energy, where the universe is like, dream big, but like also dream bigger, and also remember infinite possibilities. So this is an interesting day to have this last connection on the last day of Pisces, 29 degrees. It is a master degree, and I feel like 29 degrees Pisces, I've said this so many times, is like, what is the Rumi quote? You're not just a drop in the ocean, you're the entire ocean in a drop. This is the drop of the entire ocean. The entire ocean of all that ever has been in all time, place, space, dimension. And it's a really karmic and dharmic time. There's a lot of energies that are winding up between the eclipses and this Neptune transit. This is Neptune also finishing up a cycle. Now, to be fair, it's not going to finish up till 2026, but at the end of this month, Neptune's going to make the big leap into Aries. So this is big energy that we're working with, although it's more of the subtle realm than necessarily in your face. But if you look at the subtle things that are happening, you can see this energy at play. And also just tuning back in from the time of 2012. I was working with my teacher Khufu in 2012, and then he left in 2013. He was like, okay, you got what you needed. Carry on. But we've come a long way since then, and we've had a lot of awakening since then, since that time. And this might be a really good time to reflect on your spiritual growth, spiritual lessons, spiritual understanding from 2012 until now, and seeing how much you've grown and seeing those places that you keep coming back around to, because I think that's kind of important in this energy. So like I said, today's Make-A-Wish energy, we have the Sun and Neptune connecting. That'll be at 4:25 p.m. that they reach their exact conjunction. But it's not just a conjunction, it's a CAZIMI. Anytime the Sun is conjunct something, it's a CAZIMI, which means in the heart of. So Neptune is bathing in the warmth of the Sun, and they're reflecting upon each other and emphasizing each other's energies. But what I was going to say is what I love about this day is before that, the moon moves into Sagittarius. And so, hello, here I am, Sagittarius instigator, to dream bigger, to think bigger, to recognize the infinite possibilities. So it's beautiful that Sagittarius is ushering out this energy. I don't think that there could be a better moon sign for this than the Sagittarius energy. Let's talk about the morning, though, and then we'll get into that a little bit more. So the morning has the moon finishing up in Scorpio. We're going to have a moon in Scorpio, Uranus opposition, which could bring up some of your triggers. And sometimes we just need to, dig into those, dust those energies off, release some things, so that our flow is less restricted. We then have the Sun and the moon in connection. That's a little bit later in the day, around noontime Pacific time. So that's part of that Grand Trine water energy. So again, you may feel some emotions coming through. You may feel some creativity coming through. You may feel your intuition peaking in all of this. All of this is good, and all of this is supportive for this astro energy. The moon and Neptune then make their connection. So again, just playing in all these divine realms. What's coming up with this, and especially the moon in Scorpio energy, is sometimes we have fears about dreaming big. And I think sometimes the fear is like, what if it doesn't happen the way I want it to happen? And I feel like I have to tell you, like, so much of my life was It didn't happen the way I wanted it to happen. And yet what came about ultimately has always been better. And it's not to say that there aren't times where you grieve what you think your life could have been, but when you look at what it becomes, it's like, oh, I see, I understand, I'm excited, I get it, thank you, universe. So it's the same kind of thing. You may have to face some of those fears about what you want not happening because you have evidence, like, well, I wanted this thing and it didn't happen. But again, if you look at that whole bigger picture and that wheel unfolding, there's a lot of beauty, there's a lot of good, there's a lot of flow still to come. I'm really loving that today, finally, the flow card showed up. After a month of Pisces, here we go. Here we are finally entering the flow. And I have an interesting analogy for the flow and for times like these. Let me keep going and we're going to get to it. So like I said, moon moves into Sagittarius, 1:17 p.m. Pacific time. We're going to have that void moon between the watery energy and the void moon. It might be just kind of like a quieter day. And then we reach that Sun-Neptune conjunction. And I think that, you know, our overall focus for this month of Pisces has been like being in the flow, figuring out what surrender means, and just working with the mystic, working with the cosmos, recognizing it in our lives, even when we can't necessarily see it. But I was thinking about the world unfolding and the energy of flow, because sometimes it can be hard to flow when it feels gross and you don't even know what to do, right? And what popped into my mind when I saw this card was rip currents. So having lived in California most of my life, that was always something that was on my mind. I always lived pretty close to the ocean. And when a rip current comes, it can pull you out. You have to go with the flow. Like, it just demands you go with the flow. And if you fight against it, you will wear yourself out, and that's how people can meet their demise. The best thing that you can do is lay on your back, float, until you get to a place where you're away from the rip current and actually can swim yourself in. So you kind of like float, or, you know, gently swim, perpendicular. Is that the right word? Not perpendicular. Horizontal. I don't know. Geometry, math, whatever. But, you know, as much as you can, staying along the shoreline. And then, again, make your way in when you finally can. And I think that times like these is this. If you spend all your energy fighting right now, you are going to wear yourself out too soon. We are here for a time such as this. Our work is to flow until we see and feel that so-called opportunity, right? Where you're like, okay, here's where I'm meant to make a stand. Here's where I'm meant to show up. And that might be now. But just keep that in mind as we move into Aries, because Aries can be very erratic, reactional, and not always connected into the soul flow, just ready for that action. And so if we listen for that moment, like a tiger pouncing, that will be really powerful. Like I said, the Sun-Neptune energy, according to Master One Feather, who I also was working with at the time of 2012, he always says this is Make-A-Wish energy. And I just am reminding you to dream big. Now, where I was going with the thing is my dreaming big is love, community, unity, everybody being kind and helping each other in the world. And I also recognized as I was thinking about that, I was like, oh, we have to have some big changes to get there. And a lot of times big changes feel really, really, really uncomfortable, kind of like they do now. So I always add as gently and easily and full of grace as possible. But just keep that in mind, that sometimes these things that we want do require big shifts. And adding gently and easily can be helpful. I've learned that over the years. The moon is then going to make some connections after this Sun-Neptune energy. Moon is going to connect to Pluto, and the moon is going to connect into Venus. Actually, ending the night with the moon connecting to Venus and Aries. It could be a little fiery. It could be a little passionate. Watch for any frustrations building, especially as the moon did connect into Pluto. Remember that the universe sometimes lets you snap your fingers and have a unicorn appear, but often things take time and again, shift. So try not to get frustrated by the passage of time, and try not to get into a place where you're feeling powerless about what you desire, including love in the world, because the best thing we can do is be these things that we desire, right? I always love that quote by Rumi, what you seek is seeking you. A few last minute notes for Sun and Neptune, CAZIMI. Take it easy. Neptune can have us in a fog. It can have us in confusion. It can have us in the clouds, in the ethers, in the Om zone, which is lovely, but not always the most grounded. Take time to get grounded. Put your feet on the ground, and connect in, because that's always helpful. And Virgo, the opposite of Pisces, reminds us that is very helpful to take the time to ground in these energies. The third and final card from my color cards, I'm sad to be leaving these. I've really enjoyed these. We've got love, we've got flow, and we've got intuition. Tuning into your intuition in support of dreamcasting your desires, dreamcasting your dreams, connecting into infinite possibilities, helping you think bigger. Like, what would a peaceful, unified, loving world look like? It's hard to imagine it, but the universe can show us, right? These cards, politics. You know, I think this is one of the things, too, when we're making our requests of the universe. You don't have to pretend that you're somebody that you're not. You don't have to put on a mask. You don't have to pretend to be better than you are. You're allowed to be fully human, shadow and light, right? And I think, you know, there's a place where we're working on those layers, but, like, you're okay. And it's not that you're not getting these things because you have shadows. It's not that. It's all just part of the greater unfolding. It's all part of that soul flow. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to pretend to be a saint, right? I swear I just saw a little moth fly by when I said that. Moment to moment. Take it easy in this day. You know, we wake up with, you know, some big watery energies, and then it kind of goes into the void moon, and then some fire comes in, and it's preparing us for this Aries fire that's going to come in, and then continue to come in with Neptune, and then later down the line, Saturn. We've got a lot of that going on. So just take it easy, moment to moment. And this is a Pentacles card, Earth energy. Get and stay grounded. Take your time to ground in. But this card, Queen of Pentacles, is also like, what do you wish? What do you wish for? Connect in, send it up to the universe, dreamcast it to the universe. That's the word that keeps popping into my head today. And then go about your life and see what happens. Rebel, we might be breaking through some of our own glass ceilings as well when it comes to requesting what we want, tuning into what we desire. So I love this energy. And what's popping into my head is to have the audacity to put out to the universe what you really, really want. So have the audacity like this rebel. Our final card is the Fool. Now it's in reverse. And this is saying like, hey, there are roads, there are things that are going to open to you, but we are in the midst of a Mercury retrograde and this Venus retrograde and eclipse season. So have patience, okay? And again, don't forget that just, you know, because it's not happening right now doesn't mean that it's a no. Allow the flow. Allow the divine timing. Just keep swimming. The song that was playing right before this was Take Me to the River. And I was like, how appropriate. This song, it's just got that good beat, that perfect jive to help you, you know, be in that soul flow until these new pathways open. So, love that for today. You can book a reading with me. Email me, mimiclark@gmail.com. And the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and may your guiding light be strong. May it reflect beautifully upon your personal flow, and know that you can trust your process. Namaste.